Good morning. I'm Carol Lee Gurney with North Texas Networkers, and welcome. Our show is sponsored by Craig Trank with Willow Bend Mortgage. We are so grateful to him to allow us to have this show. And I've got Stacy here with me.
Good morning.
And we also have Maria Guerrero with us this morning, and she's with Channel 5 NBC, and she is a reporter there. So we are excited to find out what it's like on the other side.
Ooh.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you all so much for having me. I'm a little nervous. This is my first podcast, so very happy to be here with both of you.
You're used to being on the other side of the microphone.
Yeah, this is odd.
We're gonna get down.
I know.
On you.
Now I have to talk about myself, right? So
yes.
Breathe in, breathe out, Maria.
Exactly. Well, tell us a little bit about Maria, your family, where you came from.
Okay. My name is Maria Guerrero. I'm a reporter right now for NBC5 here in the DFW area. I've been here for 3 years. I was originally, I'm already nervous. I'm like, oh my God, what all do I say?
Where am I from?
I'm from Juarez, Mexico. That's where I was born. That's right next to El Paso, Texas. My mom essentially escaped a really bad situation there with my brother and myself, and she essentially fled to Lufkin, Texas, which is East Texas, about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Houston, and that's where I grew up since I was 4 months old.
Wow.
So little teeny tiny baby when I came in to the U.S. But so there I was raised with my family that was already there. I ended up graduating from Louisiana State University. Go Tigers!
They had a great year.
We did, didn't we? With my bachelor's in mass communication and 2 minors. I've essentially always wanted to be a news reporter since I was on a field trip in middle school. So this has been my dream, and it's really taken me all over. I've gone from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, up to Madison, Wisconsin, where I saw snow for the first time. It was insane. Down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, up to Seattle, Washington, and then back here 3 years ago, like I said.
That's amazing. Very good. So being a Hispanic woman in the media industry, did you see any barriers or have to overcome anything that somebody else might not have to?
I think that there are advantages and disadvantages when it comes to being, first of all, a woman in this industry that can be very, very difficult on us. But also as a Hispanic, as a Latina in this industry, I think advantages, it obviously has absolutely, I believe, opened doors for me, but that's because I've worked hard for it. And sometimes I feel like as a minority, sometimes I feel you have to work harder just to make sure and catch the right people's eyes and to make sure that people understand that you deserve your place here. So it's certainly opened doors for me, I think, in this industry. I think it's given me the opportunity to give my community a voice, and it's also given me the opportunity to bring forward different perspectives, as an immigrant, but also as a very proud American who understands very sensitive issues like immigration. But the disadvantage of being a female, I think, in this industry is a lot of times, and maybe it's in other industries as well, but it tends to have, a little time clock for us. And when we're eventually, it's time to move on, because to some, maybe you're too old or whatnot. So that's tough when it comes to this industry, and the work-life balance can be very, very challenging. I'm still trying to fight for that, and I think that's those are some of the challenges that I would say. But I think a lot of women, we go through this in whatever career choice we make.
Well, I know, and we were talking before the show, too, just about how difficult it can be with a grueling schedule if people have kids.
I look at my colleagues, Meredith Land, Bianca Castro, I honestly don't know how they do it, because they have children, and you hear about news anchors every now and then saying I'm moving my schedule to be there with my kids, and something that some people may take for granted, like dinner at home. I mean, that's huge. You have to work years for that opportunity, and I mean, my hat's off, especially to those who are doing it by themselves too, parents. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's interesting, because the timeline, we turn on the news at 9 a.m. or
Yeah.
6 p.m. and we just figure you guys are there for those 30 minutes, but that's not the case, is it?
No. Oh my goodness, I know, and people do think that, and also people think that we get like
Just stop by the office for a
right.
minute.
No, and let me just file this investigative piece real quick. Yeah. No, and people also ask if we have people who do our makeup. No, we go in just like everyone else. Really early in the morning, we have meetings. We have to go out and become little experts, if you will, on any given topic. Like, I'm a general assignment, so that means every day I'm doing something different, which is exciting. But at the same time, that's a lot. So you need a full day's work just to bring a minute 30 to our audience. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah.
I remember a news anchor one time telling me that she had to learn how to do her makeup.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did you have to do that too? Did
Well,
they teach you how to do it a certain way?
Oh, we have consultants who will come in and say, "You look insane. Please stop." And what I get a lot too is that I put too much blush on. But I'm a good Texas girl, when in doubt, just add a little bit more. I honestly, I've had to take some advice, but also just play around with it, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have people coming in who will tell us. But most of the time, you're on your own. Good luck.
Good luck with all of that.
Okay. I was a journalism major.
Yes,
Good old
I remember,
journalism
yeah.
major. And one of the things I learned in journalism was hardcore. It was the number one rule is that you don't ever give your opinion. It's just the facts. So tell me what made that change in the news industry, and how do you think it's affected people? And this is kind of like 3 questions in one.
Yeah.
Do you think it's harmful?
I think it is harmful. I think it's something that we all struggle with because, as you said, that is our Bible essentially, right? We're objective. All we're doing is seeking the truth without putting our opinions out there. Let our viewers decide and look into whatever matter we're talking about to then make up their own minds. I think right now it's difficult. For people to distinguish between, let's say, a pundit and what we do. Local journalists, I don't go to a president's rally, a Trump rally, with my opinions because that's not my job. My job is to go and show you what's happening at that moment, giving the respect to the office of the president, but also making sure that I understand that we're in a time right now where everyone is super sensitive. They're watching your every move, how you inflect, whether you're calling him the president, whether you're calling him Mr. President, Mr. Trump, So those are things that I take very seriously. But you know what? We're human at the end of the day. I think that you go out there and you try to be as professional, as objective, unbiased as possible. There are stories where, I mean, if a child is killed, there's no way you can't just say this is horrific, And I think that sometimes those lines can be crossed a little bit just to show that you're not a robot and that we're out there. I've had to interview mothers of children killed. I'm just a human. I'm not going up to them and disrespecting them. This hurts, and it's something that you respect and you share in the community's anger at that moment. But I think overall, I do agree that it's changed, and I think that social media has been quite challenging for us as journalists. We just saw this with Kobe Bryant's death, right? And how it was reported and who reported it first and who went with it. We have TMZ breaking this huge story and everybody just going with it. It's very difficult. I think we're in an age of again, we have to remember, try not to be first, but be right when it comes to things like that. I think it's becoming more difficult because we're more connected on our cell phones.
How do you think TMZ got that story over anybody else? I mean, that's just...
They're stalking.
Listen, TMZ, y'all know, is run by an attorney. He knows what he's doing. They're based in L.A. They've gotten all these other big stories. I think Michael Jackson, I think they may have been the ones who broke Michael Jackson's death. They're very well connected, and whether it was right for them to go with it, whether all of the families knew about it beforehand, I have no idea. You know what I mean? So I think that's where that controversy comes in ethics and who do we go with it? Do we wait? We knew obviously there was a plane crash. as journalists. I remember NBC News, was reporting, yes, there is a plane crash. They didn't say anything about Kobe Bryant, and then they got it confirmed. So, I mean, TMZ, you can say what you want about them, I think, and a lot of the criticism, I think, is correct. But they also get it right on big things like that. So they're very, very connected, I think.
It's interesting. So I don't know how many people know what TMZ stands for, but 10-mile zone. Is that right?
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's like a 10-mile zone. And I think when they first started, I'm not sure if I'm getting this exactly right, but the point was to get everything that was in that 10-mile zone.
Probably in LA or something?
LA.
Okay, yeah. Because that's where they're based.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting from the perspective of the consumer. For me personally, I always think, okay, well, who's reporting it? I have to see it several different times before I actually start believing it. And that's kind of a sad commentary about where we are.
Yeah, how many times have they killed off Betty White? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like you do. But as local journalists, like, we're the ones who are going to your city council meetings. We're going and getting your money back when you get charged too much on your water bill.
Right.
So there's a difference too between who you can trust a lot of the time and who you should be a little, I think, more like that. Yeah. And I mean, I think each one of us in a market, markets change all the time. People come and go, even in this market, which I feel like it used to be, you come here and you stay here and you're so grateful that you're here. That's how I feel about Dallas-Fort Worth, because it's a top 5 market in the nation. But now people are coming and going, so it takes time to gain
trust.
To build that trust. Sean Rabb, who's been here forever, that's someone, if he says something, then most of the time I believe him. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's like, but that takes time too.
Absolutely. So tell me, who has been one of your most interesting interviews that you've done, and what did it mean to you, and why was it so interesting?
Oh man, every time I get those types of questions, like they're good questions, but it's like it's
so many.
hard. There's so many people. Sometimes I'm looking at people and I'm like, I can't believe you're talking to me. Like, I would never talk to the media if I were you. And it's amazing. And then vice versa. I'm like, why are you like? I'm not asking you to solve world hunger, like, just talk to me about what you think of this fair, Interesting people. I actually got to interview MLK the Third, like 2 years ago. He comes in actually pretty regularly to the DFW area. So that was a huge honor for me. And he's a very interesting, a very calming presence about him. I'm sure very much like his father, of course. One funny story was Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Packers, right? So I was working in Wisconsin. They sent me over to Super Bowl 45, the ice storm that y'all got over here in Arlington. Okay, so we went out to the stockyards in Fort Worth, and it was closed because of the ice, so the cows wouldn't, the cattle wouldn't like be slipping and whatnot, right? So we were like, what do we do now? We have to do a report for Wisconsin, right? So then I stopped these two people, this couple, and I'm like, hey, can we just talk to you, because they had Packers shirts on, and it's Aaron Rodgers' mother. Come to find out, and they were the sweetest people ever. So that was quite fascinating, and they were really, really nice. Those are just two people that come to mind. I mean, but there have been so many over the last 13 years, for sure.
That's really cool. And then what about a not necessarily a person, but like a story? What's been a kind of a big win that you've been proud that you got to report about?
And we're there for good times and bad times, right? I've been there for celebrations when the Seahawks in Seattle won the Super Bowl in the morning, when people were lining up and along the streets. So that was cool. But we've also been there for these really awful stories, One that clearly I feel has really changed my career, at least here in North Texas, has been the Sharon Matthews case out of Richardson, the little 3-year-old who was reported missing, right? And then she was found in a culvert. And so I followed that story from the moment she disappeared. It really just hit a chord with me or something, and really for a lot of people. And I followed that throughout both parents' cases in court. One was, convicted in her death. So that's been one story that's really, really stayed with me. Absolutely.
It's hard to sleep at night, isn't it? When you
take it home
in the middle of those.
Yeah, there's an emotional toll for sure that comes with this. Yeah.
That's tough. Very tough.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
What's next for Maria? I mean, do you have a plan? Do you have a goal that you're thinking this is where I want to end up.
I'm where I am and where I want to be. I can honestly say that this is, and it's taken years, right? But this is the happiest I've ever been, both professionally, but really more importantly, personally. I met the love of my life here, a good Plano boy, and so we're so happy. And so what's next is just to keep, fighting for that work-life balance. While my career is super important to me, but there is life outside of that, and I want to participate in it fully. I'm also very happy that I just signed a new contract with NBC5, so I'm really, really happy about that.
Congratulations!
Yeah, so more Maria Guerrero on NBC5 for now.
And so when you're not working and you have that downtime and that work-life balance, what are you doing? What do you enjoy doing when you're off?
Man. Well, I wish I could get back into the gym because I really need that. I think it's super important just for your sanity, right? And just keeping everything in balance. But we like to travel a lot. We live in Dallas, so we like exploring the downtown area, and we just I go to East Texas a lot because that's where my mom lives, so we're there quite a bit, and then we just travel. Like we just went to Cincinnati. His family's from Ohio, so we just went up there. We just like to travel, pretty much. Yeah,
get up and go.
Yeah, get up and go.
He's not a Buckeye, is he?
No, he's not. His mom was though, but
really,
yeah, but no, he's an A&M boy.
Yeah.
Gig'em. I know.
Oh,
there we go. Okay.
I understand.
I'm like, whatever. I'm LSU, so
LSU,
whatever. Nothing bothers me.
Well, if you walk up tomorrow and you couldn't be a journalist, what would you be?
Oh man, honestly, and if I'm being really honest, I wouldn't want to be anything. I would just want to just relax. But I'm just exhausted. But I don't know. Part of me always thought that I would make a good police detective, but I know that's crazy. I would be such a mean cop, so maybe that's best that I'm not.
Make you good,
right? I know, to an extent, right? But I don't know. I think maybe working with domestic abuse survivors or children who've been abused in their lives, I think that would be very fulfilling to move into at some point in my life. But yeah, right now I just can't imagine doing anything else. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I'd be like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know.
Well, what you talked about, kind of your most in-depth story. You've talked about your most interesting story. What has happened to you that's been your most embarrassing moment on air?
Oh my goodness, I haven't had, and I watch those, and I probably shouldn't because it's karma. It's bad karma that I'm laughing at my colleagues around the nation, right, who are having these terrible moments on air. I honestly have not had like where I'm falling or something like that. I don't think, but sometimes I just have like a brain freeze, and it's so embarrassing because you feel like you're on TV for like an hour, and it's like a matter of seconds. I honestly haven't had anything, but I'll keep you. I'll
keep me apprised of that.
Absolutely,
I'll tell you what. I know that feeling. When I was in high school, I used to sing in our church choir.
Yeah.
And every now and then they'd give me the honor of singing a solo.
Yeah.
Which was not a good idea because I do exactly that.
Just like that.
I forgot the words.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've had in Seattle. I remember we went to a couple cities, like 2 cities in one morning, and I'm talking about 3:30 a.m. And when we went on TV, one of my hits, I remember saying reporting live, and I had no idea where I was standing. Reporting live, Maria Guerrero, whatever. So I've had that, but nothing. I mean, I don't know how I would react to something crazy happening. I know I was outside of Texas Live like 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and people have had a little bit too much to drink, whatever, and we're out there, so that makes no sense either. But so I'm standing out there, and I see that this guy's coming toward us, and my photographer has to stop him, and I'm like totally out of it. I'm like, is he about to throw a punch at my photographer? He didn't, but I'm live on TV, so it's like, how embarrassing. I don't even know what's happening. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, So I've had those moments for sure, but nothing like where I'm falling.
Okay, that's good.
Or someone kisses me. Please do not do that, people. That's not welcome. Yeah, space, please. Respect this.
So if you have somebody that's listening today that's kind of thinking about this as a career and how to get started in it, what advice would you give them?
Oh my goodness. Well, just know that know that it's about love for the craft, love for, you want to, you just have to seek the truth, want to seek the truth in everything, and just be prepared to make a lot of sacrifices, I think, and to work harder. I think nowadays people are having to do more with for less. Just in general, as an industry, you have to be able to recognize that you'll probably have to move. If you were born in Dallas, I can probably assure you you're not going to start in Dallas at one of the stations here. You know, it's just a stepping. It's you want to get to this point. You know. But there's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of rewarding moments that come with this job. But you know, it's not for the faint of heart. It really isn't, and you have to always keep that in mind. That it's tough. This takes a toll on you emotionally sometimes, and mentally even sometimes. That you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see where if you're reporting on a really heartfelt, sad story, how difficult that would be to kind of keep yourself separate, yet still be in the moment of it.
Yeah, you have a job, right? To go and inform people, whether this is the saddest thing, whatever. Just try to keep it together, at least on camera, you know, for your viewers, and then you can break down. I've done that. Yeah, plenty of time.
Wow. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm a crybaby though, so it's a lot sometimes, for sure.
Well, what do you wish we had asked you today?
Well, I actually liked that one question. Some of the challenges. What is it? Because I wrote down some word. Yeah. What have been some of your challenges? And I feel like I think a lot of people can relate to this. I think self-doubt is such a huge dream killer. Do you know, self-doubt, knowing, you know, can I do it? Am I good enough? I think that I've asked myself that, and it stopped me from going for my dreams, you know, at times, and I think that's something that we should all try to overcome, and I'm still overcoming, you know, as I speak. Speaking up, being your own advocate, especially as a woman, you have to be your own advocate when it comes to your job, the hours, you know, things like that. And I've seen that in my colleagues over the years, and it's admirable. And I think that as women, we need to be our own advocate as well. And as a young journalist, I think this goes with your question too, Stacey, is that you know, learning to turn off that switch and participate in your own life and in your real life, you know. I think that's so important, because so many times, especially in the social media, where, I mean, everything's, you know, oh God, there's another story, there's another new story. You can take that home, and that's not healthy.
I think we do that a lot too, just as realtors, because we could literally work every day.
See,
it doesn't, and it's easy to get caught up and go, I don't remember the last time I took a day. Yeah, and so that's one of the things I know I've tried to start doing, is just saying, I'm taking a day that's going to be a day of rest, a day of, you know, reflection, recharging.
Mental health days. I believe in those. For sure. And just taking 5 minutes to breathe and to be present within your own body, I think that can make a world of a difference, you know, for us, because we want to take care of everyone, we want to take care of everything, but we have to start by taking care of ourselves, I think.
Absolutely. And well, it sounds like your mother was a very strong woman to take two children and move, you know, get them in a better situation. And I think she's probably passed that on to you. And I think it's very admirable.
Thank you.
That, you know, you've really gone far in this business. And I hope you have a very long and happy, you know, longevity in your career.
Thank you so much.
I think you are an attribute to that. So
I really appreciate it. And you're right about my mother.
I'm sure. I have no doubt. No doubt whatsoever.
Do you feel like any of those challenges you mentioned a minute ago that you skipped because you felt like you weren't good enough, or you didn't think you could go the distance on that? Do you think if you had done that, you would be anywhere different today than you were?
Absolutely. If I were the type of person that I would like to have been, you know, years ago, absolutely. I probably would have been on network by now, you know. But then life comes in, and you have to just say, wait, this is this is pretty dang awesome. Wait,
Well, it's
this
pretty
is
good.
life.
And I think a lot of times we end up where we're supposed to be, right?
There you go.
know, intentions and
I believe
our
in that.
path.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Absolutely. Well, we're so glad to have you with
you
us
so
today.
much.
Thank
Great.
you
Good
for
to know.
being with us. I hope we didn't make you too nervous. We try not to.
You know, y'all were awesome. And Carolee, I've interviewed you like twice, I believe,
Uh-huh.
and you're just as sweet as can be. So thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you
I really
very
appreciate
much.
your time.
We're so glad that you were here. And we are looking forward to next month. We'll have Mike Hernandez with D&M Leasing, owner and president. And we can't wait to see him. And again, we want to thank Craig Schrank for sponsoring our show and Maria Guerrero for being our guest today. Thank you. I'm Carolee.
I'm Stacy.
And we are your real estate professionals.
Thank you for joining us on North Texas Networkers.
Visit our website, mariposagroupdfw.com. That's MARIPOSA Group DFW.com for more information about the show and other resources. I'm Carolee.
And I'm Stacy.
And we are your real estate professionals.